some unknown parts of metropolitan New York City. I am the hip and this is a lip.
Yes, hello. Good evening, everybody out there in Hip and the Lip Nation, or of course, good morning, good afternoon, whenever you might be listening. Indeed, we are the hipster, or hip for short, and the lip. That's right, coming at you post finals, everything over except for the baseball, so we can all focus our attentions on those baseballs. Yes, we have so much to do, so much to talk about, so little time, so much to see. I mean, strike that, reverse that.
Right. So much time, so little to do, as put by Gene Wilder. Oh, yes, of course, like we do every night. And as everyone thinks, of course, why can't we just wait until we just can't anticipate until it's over? Yes.
The countdown begins until the end.
Rate us on iTunes because we are Hip and Lip. Yes. So look, in the blink of an eye, the NHL and NBA seasons came to a conclusion, and so now it really feels like the summer is here. The summer is officially starting in 6 days. I just broke a sweat by doing the intro song, so you put all that together, and yes, it does feel like it's slimy and grimy and
sounds like someone is clamoring for a weather report. Should we do the obligatory weather report? Well, it's
okay. So look, there's more drama with the Mets. The Yankees continue to roll. Let's get right to it. So look, the NBA Finals, a 5-game series. The Cavs took Game 4 with an absurd 83 points in the first half or whatever it was, and scored 130 something or whatever to win it. Golden State reclaims the championship, takes it back from Cleveland. We're in a seesaw of an NBA league between these two teams for the last 3 years. The stat that has stuck out to me the most that somebody tweeted from this series was in Game 3. This is a game that got away from Cleveland. Remember, they lost 118-113, but Cleveland in Game 3 was up by 6 points, 113-107, after J.R. Smith hit a three-pointer with 3:09 to go in the fourth quarter. Yep. Now, Cleveland lost 118-113, so Golden State won an 11-0 run to finish the game, a game that got away. But what stood out to me even more in this game was LeBron James played 6 minutes, and while he was on the court, the Cavaliers were +7 as a team in the 46 minutes that LeBron James played. So in the 2 minutes that LeBron James was not on the court,
it was in the first quarter also, or second quarter or something, like right at the end of the first.
2 minutes.
Like yep.
In 2 minutes, Golden State outscored Cleveland by 12.
He came off the court and they went like a 10-0 run or something like that. It was ridiculous. It was crazy. It's in a game of a lot of different stats, that one was just wow. Okay, do you need anything more to kind of summarize the dynamics at play between these two teams? That one told it all to me. I agree. I mean, like you said, with him on the court, they were +7 in that game. It's a game that they absolutely should have won. It looked like a game that they were going to win. We were going to have some drama and intrigue in the series. Like you said, they were up by 6 points with 3 minutes to go. I mean, not that you thought the game was over even for a second, because we know how Golden State, they come up the court, 3 possessions, hit 3-pointers in succession, boink, 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 and all of a sudden, they take a lead or whatever. I mean, but it was just incredible seeing the offensive display. We talked about it last week, that Golden State, just the offensive performance, the show that they put on all series long. Game 4, I mean, Cleveland played as perfect a game as they possibly could. Everything went down. I mean, the officiating was a joke in Game 4, and the officiating, it seems like in every sport's a joke, but you know what, that's the way it is now. It just seems like the way that technology has evolved and everything, it has just completely made officiating so it's unbelievable how bad the officiating is in every sport. Anyway,
Game 4. I mean, they played as perfect a game as they possibly could. Cleveland, everything went down. Fouls galore in the first half against Golden State. They weren't really never really able to get in any kind of rhythm. And then Game 5, it was a relatively competitive game. Cleveland kept it close. I thought Golden State was actually really out of sync in the first quarter. Watching kind of like at the end of the first quarter, going to the second quarter, I thought they were pretty out of sync. They had the lead early, and then there was a point in the game when Kevin Durant came down the court. They were not moving the ball at all. There was no ball movement. They were stagnant. Durant was dribbling, just behind the 3-point line, just pulls it up, puts up a long 3-pointer, a shot you'd go normally at least a decade ago. You would say, "What are you doing? That's a terrible shot. What are you doing?" And he nails it. Comes right back to the next position. Same thing. Nails the 3, and now all of a sudden they take off. Again, Cleveland kept it close, but really, it was never in doubt the outcome of this game. They go on the win, NBA Finals, championship, everything over. 2 in 3 years now for that juggernaut that is Golden State. And Cleveland, you just left licking their wounds at the end of that Game 5 and just saying to themselves, like, how could we possibly have ever competed against this team in the series? And I'm sure that's what everybody was thinking watching that game end and that series conclude. And here we are with potential little mini dynasty in the making with the Warriors if everybody remains on that team, which it looks like they will. All the key guys anyway.
So we've talked about, throughout the NBA playoffs, how, many fans just looking forward to the series, the NBA kind of putting all their eggs in the basket of this finals and really generating great ratings.
Which they did. I think they okay, so yeah, officially it was the highest rated NBA final since 1998, the last Jordan championship. So there you go. Highest rated NBA finals in almost 20 years. So there you go.
So even though it was only a 5-game series, even though, the games weren't like, there was no buzzer beater type of games here that were super close down to the last minute.
Nope.
People were still clearly tuned in, and understandably so. I mean, I can't say I was bored watching these games. They were highly entertaining games. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, never dull. I agree. I mean, again, just watching that Golden State offense and watching LeBron James and Kyrie Irving, who I thought also had a really good series, struggled a little bit in Game 5, but was brilliant in Games 3 and 4. And, really, I think established himself as he actually almost reminded me a little bit of Allen Iverson, the way he took the ball to the basket with reckless abandon. I mean, you saw him cross up a couple of guys. That was really reminiscent of
crazy
Iverson.
Those crazy finishes around the rim with taller guys around him. Yeah. How those balls, absolutely. How he gets those balls to drop. Oh,
yes. I agree, though. I mean, absolutely remarkable. Just watching him take the ball to the hoop. Again, a little bit reminiscent of Allen Iverson, but I thought a little bit of a coming out party. Look, everybody knows how good of a player he is, but really had a tremendous series. Again, LeBron did his thing, averaged a triple-double. What more do you want from him? Of course, there was going to be a little bit of criticism. Another finals loss for LeBron. He has to kind of preempt it by putting out some statements like, I did everything I could, not my fault. I left it all on the court. And you just say, all right, LeBron, you don't have to do that. If anybody's going to criticize you, it's silly, it's dumb, it makes no sense. So for those that just don't like you and they're just going to criticize you just because of who you are and they just don't care for you, whatever, don't worry about it. Just move on. Try and figure out how you're going to recruit another superstar to come to Cleveland so you can compete against that team next year. And that's it. And then you're going to have all the legacy talking up, which whatever.
The criticism is that now he's lost 5 finals. He's won 3 and he's lost 5. Yeah. And, I was thinking about this.
And
Jordan was right. So I was thinking about this, though. In a way, the perception is that he's getting penalized because of the fact that he's made the playoffs the championship so many times. If, let's just say hypothetically, at this point, LeBron was only 3-0 in the finals versus 3-5, is the fact that he made it to the finals 5 additional times, but lost in all those worse than not making the finals any of those 5 times? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no.
It's almost like if he's 3-0, If he was 3-0, then that means he didn't even make it to the championship those 5 times at all, which would be a worse off feat, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's the old argument. I mean, people always, they evaluate players in any sport, especially, quarterbacks in football, superstars in basketball. You evaluate those guys. It's not just their play in the regular season. It's not just the stats that they put up. It's based off of how many championships they win and, their finals record. How many championships? How many finals did you get to? And whether it's fair or unfair, that's how people evaluate them. That's how they compare great players, because their stats are going to be, relative. The superstars, their stats are going to be relatively similar. They're all going to put up, ridiculous, great stats throughout the course of their career, at least the superstar players in any sport. But then how do you separate those guys? How do you, where does the debate come in as to how good they are and how clutch they are, and if they're winners or not? You look at the playoffs. You look at the championships. How many? What was their record? All that. Tom Brady has won 5 Super Bowls now. We talked about him after the last one, right? He's 5-2 in the Super Bowl. He's been to 7, but he's lost 2 of them. Joe Montana was a perfect 4-0. He only won 4, but he was a perfect 4-0. Put whatever stock into that you want to. I mean, other, baseball players. Alex Rodriguez forever took criticism because of his poor postseasons. Only won the 1 championship. Derek Jeter won 5. Baseball's a team sport, though. How much stock you want to put into that when you talk about Jeter and A-Rod? Ted Williams never won a World Series. You can go down the list. Patrick Ewing, obviously, is a nickname. Never won a championship. Was only in two finals. Never won one. I mean, you can go down the line with superstar players over the years in any sport. Sidney Crosby just won his 3rd championship, of course, which we will get.
Interestingly, though, Jordan was, you said, 3-0 at 32 years old. LeBron James right now, 32 years old, 3-5. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. I mean, Jordan had to overcome. I mean, he lost to the Celtics. He
5
lost
more
to the
finals
Pistons.
than. Yep, he's been to the finals 5 more times than Jordan has at this point, in at least in age.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, everything goes into context. You have to, again, you evaluate the body of work. Now, again, I have not been shy about criticizing LeBron James, on this show. I have criticized him for things in the past. I criticize him for things this year. And he has earned some of the criticism that he has gotten. And of those 5 losses that he has, one of them he was terrible. The one against Dallas, the first one at Miami, he was bad. And he earned every bit of criticism he got for that one. He was bad in that series. The first one that he ever played in against the Spurs, that was LeBron and nobody against the Spurs. Nobody uttered a peep about that one. It was, wow, they got to the finals. What an accomplishment. The first one, again, in Miami, hearing every bit of criticism that he got. The one that they lost to the Spurs in 5 games, he played well in the series, but there was definitely something lacking with that team. And, the Spurs played every bit like a team, and Miami did not in that series. And you can just look at all of them collectively as a group and say, you guys should have competed better and maybe should have taken the series at least farther as opposed to 5 games. Whatever. Bottom line is LeBron James is one of the greatest players of all time. Finals record aside, 3-5 or no 3-5, whatever. He is one of the greatest players of all time. He put on a magnificent performance in this NBA Finals throughout the whole playoffs. He was brilliant, and let his legacy will be whatever it is. And he is just so conscious of that. He just worries about his legacy too much. Stop worrying about it. Stop preempting criticism. Stop putting out these quotes like, oh, I left everything out there. Yeah, we know you did, LeBron. Nobody's saying you didn't. And if they're saying that, then they don't know what they're talking about. And ignore it. And that's it. The one quote that he said that I thought was kind of stupid was, I don't believe I have ever played for a super team, because they were talking about the Warriors super team. I don't believe in that. Really? You were the one that did start the super team thing when you and Chris Bosh took your talents to Miami to go play with Dwayne Wade. I would say that was kind of a super team. So we can agree to disagree on that one. But hey, I mean, LeBron is getting older now. He has played a long time in this league. I mean, he came into the league in 2004? I mean, it's amazing how long he's been playing in this league now. And, you wonder when he will start to slow down here. And again, the question going forward is, can LeBron in Cleveland next year bring in somebody? Carmelo's the name that'll be out there, as we know. But can he bring in somebody that can allow that team to compete against what we believe will be basically the same Warrior team that we just watched? And I don't know who they could possibly bring in to do that, but that's going to be the question. Really the only question for this NBA offseason. That's really it for me.
I think Carmelo would work for them, though. I mean, he would be such a good compliment for LeBron. I think it could, if they could, practice and figure it out, that could be pretty lethal. So, yeah, but we'll see. I mean, look, you want to talk super teams? Is Golden State a super team when considering Durant went there? I don't know. Part of me says, look, they're just doing what's within the salary cap. What's stopping any team from building a team?
Oh, absolutely. Oh,
so I mean, any team can do it. So I don't really.
And they drafted the other three guys. Durant signed as a free agent. Yeah.
Right, so it's like, we're gonna take away from Golden State's success because they had a great draft and they could sign Durant. I mean, should they not have signed Durant? How dare they? It's like, well, yeah. No, you could have signed him, but we'll pass because we want to just not do as well this year. Even though we can, no problem. I mean, sure, if they can do it, hats off to them.
Absolutely. But yeah, I mean, they did. I mean, Curry was a 7th overall. Thompson was 11th, and then Draymond Green was a 2nd-round pick. They brought in Iguodala, very great acquisition, bringing him in, and Livingston was really good for them. And I mean, everything worked. I mean, they brought in the right
these guys aren't even starters. It's incredible.
Yeah, Livingston contributed a lot in this series. I mean, the big guys really had no impact in this series at all, but they didn't need to. It was their small lineup, Green playing center, Iguodala in, the other 3 superstars. You roll with those guys. Livingston comes in, that other McCoy, whatever his name is, guy came in for a few minutes, and it was just that everybody just fit in perfectly into that team, into that system. I will say Kevin Durant had an absolutely phenomenal series. I mean, just incredible. 39 points, 14 of 20 shooting in Game 5, 5 of 8 from 3. I thought, again, had the 2 biggest shots of the game that really just ignited Golden State in the game. 7 rebounds, 5 assists. I mean, the guy was absolutely brilliant. To me, he's the 2nd best player in the game right now behind LeBron. And so away you go. Really just away
we go. Yep.
Amazing.
Okay, so away we go to the other league that just concluded, the National Hockey League. And we were all about those Predators last week. And they come up empty in games 5 and 6, scoring 0 goals between both games. And Pittsburgh is your repeat champion of the National Hockey League. Take it away.
Well, first off, hats off to the Pittsburgh Penguins, of course. Hats off to them. As an Islander fan, back-to-back hasn't been done since 97-98 when Detroit did it. Pittsburgh, of course, did that in 91 and 92, and I might add that when Pittsburgh went for a three-peat, they were knocked off by a team called the New York Islanders when they were going for their three-peat in 93, which was a stacked all-time great Pittsburgh team. So I just wanted to...
Was the Red Wings, the Steve Yzermans, and the...
That's it. Keep going.
God. Brendan Shanahan?
Yep.
There's another big name that
I think Russian.
Yeah, I know. I can't.
Well, they had
Kovalev?
No, not Kovalev. No, not Kovalev.
Who was it?
He was still in the Rangers, I think, at that point. Sergei Fedorov, Igor Larionov, of course, Nicholas Lidstrom.
Who was the goalie?
The goalies.
Chris Osgood?
Yes, he was in 98. In 97, it was a guy by the name of Mike Vernon who backstopped the Calgary Flames to a Stanley Cup victory in 1989 with Theo Fleury and Laney McDonald as well.
Of course. Okay, so anyway, back to the just a quick trip down the Lips memory lane there. So back to the
Detroit team.
The NHL Stanley Cup Finals at hand here. So yes, was there much talk about Sidney Crosby and his concussions at all during the Stanley Cup Finals? Because he had some serious. I mean, he's had a lot of concussions, and Yeah, didn't he have one in the playoffs?
He did. He was diagnosed with
Well,
one against Washington.
And so good for him for rebounding from that, and obviously playing at the best of the world level and bringing home a cup or keeping the cup in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I mean, Crosby was absolutely brilliant in this series. I mean, really just really set the tone for that team. I mean, he led that team. Looked like he was shot out of a cannon in Game 5. I mean, they demolished Nashville in Game 5. Final of that one was 6-0. I mean, he had 3 assists in the game, drew a penalty less than 2 minutes in, which resulted in a power play goal. I mean, he really was playing like the best player in the world in this series. Malkin, had his ups and downs in this series, but I mean, Crosby was absolutely brilliant. He deserved the Conn Smythe Trophy. You could have argued still for Malkin because he had an overall really good playoffs. You could have argued for Jake Gensel, who led the team in goal scoring, the rookie Jake Gensel, but Crosby was absolutely brilliant. I thought deserved it more this year than he did last year. Is now one of 3 guys to win back-to-back Conn Smythe trophies. The other 2 is boss Mario Lemieux, as everybody might know. And the third guy was a goalie for the Philadelphia Flyers by the name of Bernie Parent back in 1974 and 75, the old Broad Street Bullies. But, I mean, Game 6 I thought was the best game of the series. I thought both teams played really well. I mean, it was an exciting scoreless game. I thought the Predators got the jump early. The Pittsburgh pushed back. And then what I thought was just an absolute embarrassment. The second embarrassment for the NHL was a waved off goal in the second period. I want to say about halfway into the second period, maybe even more than halfway into the second period of Game 6. And what happened on the play was there was a shot at the net, I think, by Philip Forsberg. It went into the arm of Matt Murray, who was also brilliant in this series, phenomenal in the series. But the puck goes into his arm, and the referee was positioned diagonally to him. So from his vantage point, he doesn't see that. Looks like the puck is within Murray. He's holding on to the puck, and okay, I'm going to blow the whistle. Oh, no, hold on. The puck actually squirted behind him. Colton Sissons then jumps on the loose puck and bangs it into the net, and you're thinking, all right, well, at least me. What? All right, 1-0 Nashville. Okay, guys, let's go. Instead, you see the referee's arms up instead of pointing at the goal, and immediately I said, oh no, he blew the whistle, didn't he? That idiot blew the whistle. Sure enough, they congregate the referees. The referee announces to the crowd, the whistle was blown, no goal. And and just like every person in Nashville, I was absolutely livid. That was an embarrassment. The referee absolutely just completely crapped the bed there, did not do his job by not getting himself in the position. He basically, if he just holds off on blowing the whistle, he skates himself to be in position to see the puck, sees it loose, there's no whistle, and the goal stands. Instead, he decides he's just going to stand right where he is, not try and get a better look, blows the whistle just right before the puck is put into the net, and now all of a sudden, no goal. Energy sucked out of it. Well, I mean, not sucked out of the building, but just in a nothing game, in a game where goals are so hard to come by, obviously, and one is taken away. I mean, you don't have to overstate the significance of that moment. And the game would remain 0-0 to the third period. Of a fluky bounce that led to the game-winning goal by former Predator, of course, to add injury to insult, Patrick Hornquist. Puck is shot wide. It kind of just caroms off the boards. Rene was out challenging the puck, couldn't get himself back into position. Hornquist puts the puck behind him, or banks it off of him, I should say, before he can get back into position. There's your game-winning goal. Empty net for good measure. Former Ranger Carl Hagelin scores the empty net for Pittsburgh. And the Penguins are champions back-to-back. So there you go.
Maybe that referee botching the call was an intentional act on his part to prove that the games aren't rigged, so that because if he had let it go, then maybe you say that it's tipping, it's leaning calls in favor of Nashville. Although it sounds like objectively, the call should have. The whistle should not have been blown. So,
oh, no question. The puck was clearly loose. And again, if you just wait the extra second, just wait, because if he has the puck, you'll see it and you'll blow the whistle. If he legitimately has the puck's not going anywhere. You're not affecting anything. All he has to do is just skate a couple inches to get himself a better vantage point. If the puck is not there, he has it. Whistle. If the puck is there, which it is, goal, 1-0 Nashville. Who knows what? Maybe we're watching Game 7 as we speak if that goal goes in. I'm not saying that they win the game. I'm not saying that they win the game if that goal is allowed. I'm not saying that. We don't know how the game would have turned out. But that game obviously would have taken a different turn. Maybe we're watching Game 7 right now. I will say that the referees, I think, knew that they screwed up. So they awarded 4 power plays and Nashville ending 30 seconds, which oh my God, was their power play terrible. It was they were playing like patty cake back and forth there. It seemed like Subban and I want to say Yossi it was on the power play on that 5-on-3, just back and forth before a shot was put towards the net. Oh my God, that power play was terrible, hideous. Ugh. 0-for-4, game over. Pittsburgh raises the cup yet again, and Sidney Crosby gets it from Gary Bettman, who was booed incessantly. Good, and there you go.
What else is new? He is every time he steps on the ice, it seems like.
I think every commissioner now is like, maybe Silver not yet. Maybe Silver and Manfred not yet because they've only been commissioners for a shorter time. But Goodell and Bettman, poof, they step out anywhere. Boo!
Well, is there something that look? So good breakdown of the series. So now we move into the offseason. Is there one theme about the league or something else that most interests you as the NHL offseason is now upon us?
Well, I actually just wanted to get a couple more things in there before I move to the offseason, if I may. So I wanted to actually credit the Penguin D Corp, and I was also happy to see Mark Streit, former Islander Mark Streit, raise the cup. Didn't play in the series, but got a chance to put the cup in the air. Good for him. Ron Haynes.
To be clear, not to be confused with Brian Streit.
Nope. Straight. Butchie had trouble with that when they were both playing for the Islanders. Butchie had a little trouble with that, but nope, no relation to Brian Streit. Mark Streit, the Swiss, the guy from Switzerland, former Islander, raised the cup with Pittsburgh. So tough to see him doing in that jersey, but whatever. Good for him. But that Penguin D Corp, without their best player by a mile, Chris Letang, who was out all playoffs, bunch of journeymen, reclamation projects like Justin Schultz, older guys, Ron Hainsey, who had played 14 years in the league and never played in the playoffs. Think about that. Ron Hainsey, he was acquired at the trade deadline, played 14 years in the league without playing a single playoff game until this year, and then wins the cup. So interesting there. And also, I thought was interesting, this is the first time in NHL history that a team wins a Stanley Cup without at least one of their defensemen. Now, Chris Letang is not counted because he has, but wins a cup without at least one defenseman having received a Norris Trophy vote at some point in his career. Well, I thought that was interesting too. That tells you how important it is to have good defensemen. I mean, everybody thinks about the shiny forwards and the goals and all that. You need to have a good defensive core, and this Pittsburgh defensive core was definitely looked at very differently when compared to Nashville's. We gushed about Nashville's, and rightfully so. But this Penguin defensive core did a tremendous job. Really, I mean, they all played about 18, 19, 20, 21 minutes. I mean, nobody played like 10 or 11 like the third pairing for Nashville. So hats off to those guys. And I mean, the advanced stats actually said that Nashville got the much better of the play in the series. They outshot Pittsburgh 174-144. And Pittsburgh's PDO, which is which we've talked about a little bit in the past, which was the combination of the shooting and save percentage, supposed to average around 100. Their PDO was 105.7, which tells you that the save percentage, shooting percentage was off the charts, good and or positive for them, and maybe they were a little bit lucky to win the series, but oh well, they win. They were the better team. They deserved it. They earned it. Before we get to the offseason, one more little tidbit. Mike Milbury, who said that Sidney Crosby, by bashing PK Subban's head into the ice in Game 5, said that PK Subban had that coming. He had it coming, says Mike Milbury. Really? Well, there is another fan base in the NHL now that hates you as much as the Islander fan base, the Nashville Predator fan base, because if you were listening to the postgame right after the series, you heard a guy very clear as day, yell, "Get the bleep F out of Nashville," as they're doing their little post-game breakdown there, Mike Milbury and company.
Yeah, I'm sure Mike Milbury's losing a lot of sleep. Poor guy. Where's the lip?
The best rated NHL final in like 5 years. We talked about the ratings last time in like 5 years or something. I don't know. But just consider this, though. The NBA finals average about 25 million, or Game 5 was about 25 million viewers. I think the NHL Game 6 was like it was 7 or 8 million viewers or something like that. So just a little context for you. Anyway,
yeah, indeed.
Moving on, off-season, expansion draft upon us, the crazy season upon us, which expansion draft, of course, is a part of. So, New York Islanders, rumors galore. What will Garth Snow do? Rumors galore. Matt Duchene, Jordan Eberle, Calvin DeHaan. What defensemen are they trading? Who are they keeping? What about this? What about that? Dan Girardi, just bought out today by the Rangers. So there's a guy that will not be protected now in the expansion draft, as he is no longer a New York Ranger. Rangers, whatever. We can talk about them when stuff happens. But the Islanders, here's what they have to do. Now, here's the schedule before we get to the Islanders, here's the schedule for the NHL offseason. The trade freeze begins on Saturday. So that the trade freeze, no trades can be announced or whatever. You know that stuff will still happen, but nothing can be announced beginning on Saturday afternoon around 3. Who cares? That takes you to Thursday when that ends, the trade freeze. The expansion draft is Wednesday. And then the NHL draft is on Friday. So there's your schedule. So now the frenzy has begun. What are we doing with these?
Set your DVRs.
Oh, yes, indeed. Set them is right. So the frenzy begins. We have every team now. Oh, who are we protecting? What guys are we protecting? How many forwards? How many defensemen? So I think we've talked about this a little bit before. Basically, 2 options for every team. You can protect 11 players, which is 7 forwards, 3 defensemen, and a goalie. Or 9 players, which is 8 total skaters. So obviously, if you're doing that, you're going to be protecting an extra defenseman at least. So 4 and 4, and then 1 goalie. The Islanders have 5 defensemen that cannot be lost to the expansion draft. You have to get something. If you're going to trade one of them, then you do it, obviously. You make a deal with Vegas with George McPhee, old friend George McPhee. And you know a lot of these deals are going to be made and then everything will be announced, I guess, on Thursday or something. I guess the NHL doesn't want anything to be announced like until I don't even know. I bet like the NHL is trying to put like a muzzle on everything. They're trying to keep things from leaking better than the Trump administration will do. So I just wanted to get that out there. But the Islanders have to figure out what they are doing with Hamonic. So you have the 5 defensemen: Hamonic, Boychuk, who has to be protected, Leddy, DeHaan, Ryan Pulock. You cannot keep all 5 of those guys. Well, you can technically if you do the 4 and 4, if you do the 8 skaters. But then obviously you're going to have a little issue with your forwards. So if you do 4 and 4, you have to trade one of those defensemen. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. Someone has to be moved for an asset. For a player, a bigger trade, it doesn't even matter to me at this point because I don't expect Garth Snow to do anything anyway, or at least anything of any significance because he doesn't have the guts to do it, as we all know. If he does, I'll be shocked. Despite all the rumors, Duchene, all that, I would be shocked. I really would. But that's the one thing that he has to figure out. He cannot allow any one of those defensemen to just be plucked by Vegas.
You think he shares the same mindset that all 5 of them are that?
He has to. because he will be destroyed. And we've destroyed him.
He's been destroyed already. Yeah.
Well, it doesn't matter. Obviously, it falls on deaf ears in Islander land. But
all right. Well, we'll see.
It cannot happen. The draft, who cares? Whatever. Yeah. I mean, they might even trade their first round pick. I don't know what's going to happen. There's so much speculation. There's so much innuendo. There's so many rumors. It's crazy. I mean, and everybody's expecting there to be like a legitimate frenzy. This guy moved, that guy moved, this guy. Oh, the backdoor, under table deals with Vegas. Oh, don't take this guy. We'll give you a second round pick if you don't take this guy, or take that guy. We'll give you this, or take this guy and then he'll get traded to this team and we'll trade. I mean, it's unbelievable. Like everything that's flying around out there. So the next week to 10 days should be very, very interesting in the NHL, and then you have free agency after that. So we will see. And as I said, Dan Girardi no longer a Ranger, and I'm sure Ranger fans have mixed emotion about that, as Dan Girardi was a very key member of that team for so long, really about a decade now. A guy that gave you everything he had every night, every time he stepped on the ice, but clearly was completely broken down and just cannot carry that guy for that kind of salary or salary cap hit anymore. So he is gone. 6 years of dead cap space ahead for the New York Rangers. Enjoy.
I say we move on to some baseball here.
Oh, about the French Open, though. Rafael Nadal, 10-0 in the French Open. Yay for Rafael Nadal. All right.
Yay.
Yes.
All right.
Baseball, yes. How about those local baseball squadrons? Indeed.
Right. So who currently has 22 home runs and 58 runs and 47 RBIs and batting 344 on the season? Who could that be? As we all expected going into the season.
Well, are we talking about present day, or are we talking about back in 1927? Because I think Babe Ruth had that around this time, right? In 1927, right?
DeLip, you have to reset your mic.
Okay.
Do the mic reset, Mr. Lip.
Okay. All right.
Much better. Yes. Okay. Thank you. And you just let everyone fall asleep for 4 seconds because I intentionally said nothing. Yes. I mean, some dead air. All right. We're gonna live with some dead air on this show. We'll see how it goes. I'm sure we'll lose half of our listeners.
It's a breath of fresh air. That dead air every now and again. I might add.
We'll go from 4 to 2. I was just kind of hoping that maybe you would fart or something in between, and we'd miss it. Anyway. So look, the Yankees.
Whoops.
Look, we're now in the middle of June. They finally are going to have a pitcher that's going to miss a start. CC Sabathia had a hamstring injury yesterday, and it sucks for him. He's somebody that we really haven't talked about either much, but damn, he's had a good bounce back year. Held his own. Hopefully he's not out for too long. I don't know exactly what the diagnosis is, the severity of the hamstring strain, but usually a couple of weeks, and for someone like him, it might be a bit more.
I actually have breaking news, and this was reported by Eric Boland of Newsday. 4 to 8 weeks, a grade 2 hamstring pull. Breaking news.
4 to 8 weeks. Okay.
4 to 8 weeks.
Well, that's and we've talked about before with injuries, you always it ends up always being on the longer side of the. That's a wide range. I must say, but it's almost always on the longer side of the expectation. So that's basically 2 months of no Sabathia, and that's going to play a big. That could be a big impact on this team.
Yeah.
Now the fifth starters who there's somebody they're calling up, I think, from AAA. You don't know what you're going to get out of that. So the Yankees are getting a little tested here with their depth finally in their rotation. I mean, they've been fortunate to have health in that regard. A lot of health for the team overall, minus a Gary Sanchez, who hit a 3-run bomb tonight and looks like he's old and playing every day as a catcher.
Yeah, Sanchez, if he heats up too, and you get Bird back eventually, I mean, that lineup is already scary as it is, and we'll be fortified even more with Bird when he does come back. But
Like Dina Gregorius hitting over 300.
Gregorius has been incredible. I mean, we focus on Judge, and Judge has obviously been just, like otherworldly. But Gregorius has really just picked up right where he left off last year. I mean, he has been absolutely tremendous. He's been great.
337.
Yeah. I mean, it is unbelievable just where he is now compared to where he was when his first month a couple of years ago after Jeter retired, that first year after Jeter retired. I mean, he looked like he was lost at the plate, lost in the field, and now he's a Gold Glove shortstop that is like a legitimate 300 with plus, can hit you 15 to 20 home runs potentially. And wow, I mean, he has developed into a hell of a player. And obviously, like you talked about, Judge, Sanchez, getting back into a groove. Castro's been good the whole year. Gardner's played really well, hit the ball really well. Headley's.
I still worry about their pitching. I really do. I mean, that's the thing that it can fall off at a cliff at any moment. That's the part about the team that I can't. I struggle more to buy in on a team that relies on offense than to sustain success over the pitching, because I don't think Pineda and Severino and Tanaka has shown a little bit of signs of rebounding, but not quite. And I think Severino and Pineda have just been pitching better than their baseline is. Maybe they're proving me wrong. I mean, it is the middle of June now.
Yeah, so I don't know what he knows
to this point.
Yeah, but Severino's also, except for one start in the last I want to say 6 weeks, whatever it is, has been brilliant. I mean, has been tremendous, great. And, Pineda has been much more consistent. I know he's given up a home run tonight, but, he's been much more consistent, which is what you want to see out of him. Sabathia, like you say, it's going to be a loss. I mean, Montgomery, everybody else has held their own. Tanaka, you hope that he will rediscover whatever the hell he had lost. I mean, it seemed like he had lost everything the first couple of months of the year. Just a couple good starts and the rest getting tattooed. So, I mean, he's obviously as vital to that team, to his team's success this year as anybody. But here's the one thing I'll say, though. I don't have as much concern as you do, because that bullpen, especially when Chapman comes back, is that good, is that deep. And as long as they can get, some decent innings out of their starters, they don't have to be great. So again, Sabathia is a loss, but if they can get somebody in to replace him that can give you some innings, give you some decent innings, you hand it off to the bullpen, the way that offense is going, they're not going to keep it up the whole year. Judge is going to cool off eventually, but when he does, somebody else is going to be there to pick it up. And that's how deep their lineup is right now. So
yeah, it's like Ellsbury. Whenever Ellsbury, he's still suffering with
Hicks
some
is another one.
headaches.
Yeah.
But when Ellsbury comes back, and you have an embarrassment of riches for your outfield.
You do. And, I'm sure that Ellsbury, I think, will be rotated back in. He's not going to play every day, but doesn't have to. I mean, Hicks has been that good.
Yep.
But I think their offense is good. Their offense and their bullpen are both good enough where I don't think the starting pitching, again, injuries notwithstanding, if their pitching is decent enough, I think that there's no reason to think that this team will not be in a spot to contend for that division and get in the playoffs in September. Because right now, who else is in the American League? That's Houston. Boston will be there. I think Boston's good enough. They're going to be there.
Well, now they have Sale and Price is looking good enough back from his elbow injury.
Except when he pitches against the Yankees, who destroy him.
Like that for his whole career.
Yeah. But I honestly, right now, there's no reason for me to think that this Yankee team will not win 90 games. I know, it's amazing considering that I said they'd be the 82 to 85 was the range I gave earlier in the, before the season started. At this point, there's no reason to think they won't win 90 games. I just think that when you look at everything, the whole team, offense, the bullpen, I mean, as long as their starting pitching holds up and can give you consistent, decent innings, they will be there. They will add an arm at the trade deadline if they have to. That's the Yankee way. They're not going to say, well, we're ahead of schedule. It's okay. No. They are going to add somebody. We know that.
No,
if they
can contend. I mean, look, it's pretty wide open. I mean, any team could get hot and make a run. So,
oh, of course, absolutely. But what teams are capable of doing that though in the American League? I mean, Texas, Cleveland. I mean, who else? Who else? Minnesota? Do you buy into Minnesota? I don't know. I think they have some good players, but I don't know if I buy into them yet. Baltimore's looked terrible. I know Toronto can, maybe they'll make a little bit of a run here. I don't buy Tampa. I really don't buy Tampa. And then Houston's running away. It was running away with that division, but Texas could contend for a wild card. I think they can get back into it. They have the pitching and they have a decent offense, but there's nobody there that you would say, wow, if the Yankees fall off at all with the starting pitching, this team could pass and that team could pass. I don't see it. I really don't.
Look, Houston has their 2 best starters on the disabled list right now. So.
Right, exactly. And the best team in the American League has their top 2 guys in a rotation that's not very deep to begin with.
Yep.
On the DL. I mean, this
Cleveland's gonna make the run, come back. Well, Danny Salazar's in the bullpen, but they're pretty deep in their rotation. Kluber and Carrasco. Kluber's back. He was on the DL with a back injury. They'll be there come time, but it's not like you're so intimidated that the Yankees can't compete and be there right now. That's just the way that it's going. It's pretty incredible, unbelievable, really, and it just makes you feel even that much worse for Mets fans because they just can't keep anybody healthy. I mean, it's just to that point where almost every single player has had an issue. So. Asdrubal Cabrera went back on the DL 2 days ago or yesterday. He had 2 home runs in a game. He was on the DL the next day. Neil Walker goes down today with a leg injury. He's probably going on the disabled list. Jeez. You can't make this up.
Well, here's the question now.
Cespedes came back. He came back off the DL, and then he's been out for like the last 2 games because his heel apparently is sore. I mean, where does it end with this team?
Yeah, well, Cespedes, I guess today was a scheduled day off. Yesterday, I thought this was hilarious. So yesterday the Mets got blown out. What was it, like 28-3 or something, or maybe not that bad, 14-3. But Yoenis Cespedes played in the game. He was taken out of the game early. Yoenis, yep. He was taken out of the game early. So immediately, if you're a Met fan, you're thinking, oh, no, he's hurt again? Again? Now what? But the Mets took him out because it was a blowout, and they were like, all right, why bother? Why risk keeping him out there? Let's take him out. But what the Mets did was they announced to the crowd at Citi Field to assuage any concerns of Met fans who see Cespedes come out, they announced that he came out of the game because of the situation of the game or something like that. That was the words that they used. The situation of the game was the reason that he came out. They obviously could have said, hey, Mets fans, we're getting our asses kicked. Yoenis Cespedes is out of the game. I mean, what's the point of keeping him in there? Come on. They could have said that.
Okay, so I'm going to try to do an imitation of what the announcement could have sounded like. Attention fans, Yoenis Cespedes has exited the game due to anticipated rest. I mean, what do you say? How do you announce that?
Situation. I know that for a fact. They said like game situation is the reason.
No, but how do you say it? Like, what's the actual verbiage? Like, how do you first of all, like by audio, or was it something on the video board?
No. It was just like over the PA. They get the PA guy for the Mets.
So it's like attention fans.
Yeah. That's exactly what they did. Yes.
Attention fans. Yoenis Cespedes left the game due to the what?
We're getting killed. There's no the Mets.
No, but seriously, no, they don't. They didn't say that. What did they actually say?
I just told you, game situation. It was because.
Wait, so excuse. All right, so attention, Mets fans. Yoenis Cespedes exited today's game due to the game situation.
Something like that.
That's what?
Yes, I kid you not. That legitimately happened. You heard Ron and Keith go, I never heard that before. What the? I don't think in all of our years of doing this that we have ever heard that before.
They should have just put out a tweet and left it at that. Like, it's easy to just announce it through the Mets Twitter account. The word will spread. I mean, that's fine.
That's true.
But it's so weird to do it over the PA
because they knew that everybody would be all worried against, like, oh my God, he's hurt again. Oh no, what happened now? So instead of letting people just speculate or worry about why he might be out of the game, they said Mets fans were getting destroyed. There's no point of him remaining in this game. We're taking him out. That's pretty much what they said. I thought it was hilarious. I was on the floor laughing when I heard that. I'm like, oh my God.
I mean, all right. So how about like the epitome of how ridiculous their season is, of what happened tonight against the Cubs, where the bases were loaded and Matt Harvey was taken out of the game for a pinch hitter?
Oh, he was terrible, Harvey. Oh.
I know, but it's not that Harvey was terrible, but it was the fact of how he was taken out of the game as a pinch hitter.
Bases loaded, down 4-1. Here comes the guy that everybody is hoping for off the bench to give the Mets a lift. Steven Matz.
The fourth inning.
Fourth inning.
Oh my God.
We need a big knock here to get ourselves back in this game. I know. We'll call.
He did drive it run. He drove it a run anyway.
And he did. He hit a ground ball in the hole that he beat out of the throw from Baez. Chris Bryant was too lazy to cover third base, where he could have been thrown out at third base.
Oh my God. That is just what?
Yep. The incredulosity of Keith and Ron again saying, "Oh, how can you have a bench where the only guy, the best option for this situation is Steven Matz?" That was great. That was classic. Classic Mets.
Wow.
But hey, they won the game. They came back. Anderson, the big home run tonight, 300 for him.
Yep.
And I was really happy for Anderson. This 300th home run.
He's had a good few weeks. He was terrible. Somebody who has been awful all year. It's like a waste of space is Jose Reyes. I mean, what a disaster that he has been for this team. Just showing zero signs of life at the plate. I know we've talked about him on the field, off the field, but I feel like, I mean, at some point you got to try this kid in AAA, Ahmed Rosario.
Because if Walker's
I
on
think
the
it's
DL,
about time.
If Walker's on a DL,
I think it's about time. Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, I know the Mets are like, oh, he's not ready yet. Oh, we don't want to rush him. You know what? Just stop already. I mean, everybody knows how good he is.
Yeah.
Bring him up and see if he can play. If he can't, send him down then. Jeez, he's batting still under 200, Reyes. He's batting 189. Come on. He's giving you nothing.
That's just pathetic.
I mean, you can't bench Reyes because if no Cabrera or Walker, Reyes has to play. So you play him at, I don't know, play him at short, play Flores at third or Flores at second, and have Rosario play, or have Rosario play short, have Reyes play third, and have Flores at second or something. I don't know. You can figure it out. But I agree. It's about time. Because Reyes has been brutal.
Well, that's about it. I mean, the Mets otherwise pretty much suck. So,
well, they're 8 back,
looking like a throwaway year.
Well, you know what though? They're what are they? 7 or 8 back of the wild card after their win tonight. But this is as key a stretch for this season as they're going to have, at least going into the All-Star break, and whether or not they are going to contend. So they take 2 out of 3 from the Cubs. All right, good start. 4 against the Nationals. 4 against the Nationals at home. I mean, as big a series as they're going to play all year, at least in the immediate. And then they go on the road to play 4 against the Dodgers, where they will miss, as of now, Clayton Kershaw. So exhale, Met fans, a 4-game series where you miss Clayton Kershaw. The baseball gods may be smiling on you. And then 3 in San Fran. So if they can come out of that 11-game stretch where they – I mean, even a winning record would be amazing. But even if you're around 500, where you kind of hover, you hold your ground. Now maybe you can, if you get guys back healthy, Cespedes, Conforto. I mean, Harvey. I mean, it was so discouraging to see Harvey pitch so bad tonight. I mean, it was just beyond discouraging if you're a Met fan. But this is as key a stretch as they are going to have this season, and going into the All-Star break. They can weather this, keep afloat, stay within striking distance of the wild card, division, whatever. I mean, division you're not going to worry about right now. And then maybe you can actually justify making a trade where you acquire somebody at the deadline. So
I think the Mets would be fortunate to split with the Nationals. They face Strasburg and Scherzer. Good luck there.
Split with the Nationals, split with Well, I mean, at least they missed Clayton against the Dodgers, but split with the Nationals, split with the Dodgers, and then 3 in San Fran. Take 2 out of 3 there against the bad Giants. And you know what? I think Met fans would sign on the dotted line for that right now. So there you go. 6 and 5 in those 11 games. How's that?
Right. All right. Well, we'll look. There'll be with the NBA and NHL seasons behind us. There'll be plenty of episodes to dissect even further the baseball season in general and our beloved teams here in
so we can gush more
metropolitan New York City.
Judge, yes. Oh my God, he's amazing. He's judgy in feats. No more Ruby in feats. Judgy in feats. Yes,
all right.
Indeed.
So I know
I'm 33% of his at bats, but when he does, it goes a mile and a half. So there.
So there's really no transition to this, so I'm just gonna throw it out there. The hipster moment of Zenith, the lips segment.
Oh, I thought you had one. Okay,
nope.
I thought you were gonna. Okay, I have my own. I thought maybe you had your own hipster moment of Zenith for the week. All right, I do have my own. So I guess we'll skip the other couple things that we might have talked about, but nothing really going on there. Well, actually, I did want to get, before we do the HMOZ, just really quickly. Now, I say W gas to this. Floyd Mayweather, Conor McGregor, I could not be less interested in that. It's a joke. A MMA fighter against a boxer in a boxing match. I mean, why would anybody think that Conor McGregor was standing? Doesn't matter. I don't care. W gas. But here's the one thing that we were going to kind of get into this a little bit. So Colin Kaepernick is still unemployed. He still does not have a job. And we all know the reasons why. The NFL teams can give us all the nonsense garbage crap that they want. Oh, we don't think he's as good. Oh, we don't think he can play in our system. Oh, we don't have use for him. Keep giving us that garbage, you jerks. We all know the reason why he's not on the team. Now, it's partly because of the fans. They're outraged. Oh, how dare he kneel for the national anthem? Oh, if you dare sign him, I will boycott. I will never come to a game again. Oh, Giant fans, I guess, called the Maras and said, oh, it bothers us so much. So he's unemployed, yet Floyd Mayweather, who has several convictions for domestic violence, misdemeanor assaults, has been in jail, has just a litany of things. But millions upon millions upon millions of people will gather around to watch that guy fight Conor McGregor. And I'm sure there are plenty of people in that crowd that are going to watch this fight, not give a single thought to Floyd Mayweather's past, but have such a problem with Colin Kaepernick kneeling for the national anthem. I'm sorry. That is absurd, ridiculous, and it's something that should make you take pause and say, wow, I need to reevaluate my priorities because they are out of whack. All right, whatever. There's my self-righteous moment for the week. I don't know if you had anything to add to that, but I just wanted to get that out there.
Right. Look, people selectively want to escape from reality in life, and watching Floyd Mayweather box is caters to that escape, and they're
where's the outrage about him?
There's there's willful blindness to it because they didn't see it with their own eyes. Whereas with Kaepernick, you see it, you visualize it. I'm not just
a guy with his knee on the ground. Oh, how dare he!
I'm just explaining to you the potential perception that the folks that you describe are experiencing. I'm not saying that I agree with it, but there is something to be said about what people see with their own eyes, and it's easy to ignore something you don't see and pretend it never happened. I'm not saying it's right, but that's the reality of it.
I know, and it's unbelievable though, and I feel for Colin Kaepernick again. Whatever you think his intentions, his motives, his reasons behind what he did, you know what? Again, what he did. I mean, you make it sound like, oh, he did something really good. What he didn't. What he do? But it's just absolutely ridiculous. And you know what? these NFL owners say to your fans, you know what, grow up. If we feel that he is, like that, if we feel that this guy can help our team, we're going to sign him. And if you're going to boycott the team because we sign a guy that had the gall to put his knee down during the national anthem to make a political statement, well, you know what? Take your business elsewhere. And you can legitimately do that. If you're not going to be outraged over some of these other guys that are playing, whether it's baseball, football, whatever, in any sport that actually have committed legitimate violent crimes and that are allowed to play still, and there's no outrage there, but you'll express outrage over this or Floyd Mayweather or whatever, you know what? Whatever. We don't have any use for it. We'll do what we want. Boycott if you want. That's fine. Goodbye. We'll survive. Anyway.
We'll revisit this, I'm sure.
We will.
It's not going away.
It's not going away. And also now Addison Russell, who I saw came and pinch hit tonight for the Cubs, is back after his the allegation against him. So I guess
indeed.
Whatever. Anyway, hipster moment of Zenith. So we lost. So this was not the hipster moment of Zenith. We lost another celebrity a few days ago, Adam West. I'm sure everybody knows Adam West as the guy that was Batman before Christian Bale and before Ben Affleck and before Michael Keaton. That's right, the incredible Adam West, who was a part of a trilogy that I might add was much better than the conclusion, the final chapter of the NBA Finals trilogy. And that was the Happy Hooker. And he was a leading cast member of the Happy Hooker Goes to Hollywood. I just wanted to just throw that out there.
So your DVRs.
Just in case you didn't know, he was in the final chapter of the Happy Hooker trilogy, Happy Hooker Goes to Hollywood. So yes, Adam West. So he died at the age of 88. Again, will of course be remembered for his role as Batman, the very campy before Tim Burton and then Christopher Nolan got their hands on it. Oh, and I forgot to mention the other Batmans. How can I forget? George Clooney and Val Kilmer. How can I forget those guys? But my own personal homage to Adam West, I am going to recite an Adam West quote that even if you don't recognize it, I'm sure many of you will, but even if you don't, I'm sure you will capture the essence of who Adam West was in this quote.
As long as you could stay awake throughout the delivery of the quote.
Yes, I promise it'll be quick, and I will do it as dramatically as possible. So, before Batman spoke like this isn't a car. He spoke like this. Of course I'm Batman. Here's a picture of me with Robin. Who the heck is Robin? Oh, I see you're only familiar with the new Batman movies. Michelle Pfeiffer. Huh. The only true Catwoman is Julie Newmar, Lee Merriweather, or Eartha Kitt. And I didn't need any molded plastic to improve my physique. Pure West. And how come Batman doesn't dance anymore? Remember the Batu-C? Yo, cha, hey, yo, cha, hey, yo. And I was dancing just now. If you couldn't, of course, you can't see me. You can hear it, but I was doing a little dance. The Batu-C by Adam West. So I will not reveal where that is from. I'm sure, again, most of you know where it's from. If you don't, I'm sure you hopefully thought I captured the essence of Adam West there in that little delivery. So there we go. The hipster moment of Zenith. A little homage to Adam West, who died at the age of 88 only a few days ago. All right, so moving on now as we get to the final segment, of course, of the week. Everybody's favorite, yours and mine, and that would be the hipster beer of the week. And take it away, Mr. Hip.
Yes, well, this week we are going to Middle America. We're diverting from the coasts of the beers. This is Perennial Artesian Ales. They are in St. Louis, and I had a stout of theirs recently in the Upper East Side at a craft beer bar / store called City Swiggers. If you're in the area, I suggest check it out. They have a lot of good local cans and hard to find items on draft. And one of those items on draft is called Sump Coffee Stout.
Ooh, sounds kind of
Sump is a coffee company, and so it's a stout blended with Sump coffee, 10.5%, and it was so strong on the coffee notes, but so enjoyable. And just want to, another one of these breweries that you see their name and you got to try out whatever they have on draft. if you can find anything on draft by them in the New York City area. At least there was one place here that does have it, and I'm sure there's a few more. So the hipster beer of the week. Yes, thank you. All right, everybody. Jokes, finish everything. Also, yes.
Yes. So actually, I was just going to ask. So this beer, was it fermented in a pit or a hollow in which liquid collects? That would, of course, be the definition of a sump. When I heard sump, I was like, oh wow, was this beer? Was this crafted and fermented in a actual sump?
Some, I hope so. Yes, directly from the sump. Aged in the sump.
And it's funny is that a expanded definition is a low space that collects often undesirable liquids. So I guess liquids that are not very much in demand or desired by the typical person. But
well, there's a coffee company named Sump. I wonder about their strategic decision making by using that as the name of their coffee. But here we are. All right.
Next.
All right. Well, until next time.
Thank you for joining us. So much NHL craziness to look forward to next week. Yes. All right.
Oh God, DVR away. See ya.
All right.
Right now!